The party
Guy
was
Fieri.
lame to me.
Fieri.
Fieri.
Okay, this is the fun.
Yeah.
So they're trying to track him down. Mora's at the party.
I just want to say, you are never allowed to pick the freaking theme for anything again. Okay. Albuquerque, fire truck. We're just yelling out words now? What's going on here? Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of BS Drunk Movie Reviews. This is a weekly podcast, and we do upload the video version of this to our YouTube channel, so be sure to check us out there. My name is Matt, and as always, I am being joined by my sister, Vetta.
Hi, guys.
Hey, you. And on this episode, we have a special guest. We have Darkhour. Darkhour, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good, man.
I love your shirt.
Yes, I have them in all different colors. Special guest in every color.
Anyways, how are you doing, buddy?
I'm doing pretty good. Just got done watching this movie. I actually hadn't seen it in a very long time. Probably
right on.
2002. What was I, like 13 when this came out? 14. So
right on. Yeah. Speaking of that, we are going to be reviewing the movie Crossroads, the Britney Spears movie. But before we get into all of that, we are going to ask the most important question of the night, and that is, what are you drinking? And we'll start with you, Darkhour, since you're the guest.
Well, I figured, normally I just shoot straight tequila when I'm on these streams and podcasts, but I figured I want to do something a little bit more fun for this one. So I made myself a nice margarita
Nice.
I margarita glass,
Yeah, no, I love margaritas. Vetta, what are you drinking?
I am drinking a carbless. It's not that great, but it'll do the job. It's like a crafted vodka cocktail, but it's 100 calories. I feel like this is something that this group of girls would drink because
right on.
I want to drink, but I don't. Yes. So.
Right on. All right, I'm just having a fuzzy navel, which is just vodka, but I have a backup. I have a White Claw, but it's.
I feel like we all had the same idea, which was to have the girliest drink we could think of off the top of our heads.
Right
I
on.
wish that was the case, but those are like White Claws Matt's always got on hand.
Hey, there's no laws when you're drinking claws.
That's so true. All right, so Crossroads, the story of three childhood friends, Lucy, Kit, and Mimi, who after 8 years apart rediscover their friendship on a cross-country road trip with barely a plan, practically no money, but plenty of dreams. The girls catch a lift with Mimi's handsome friend Ben in a convertible. Along the way, they not only gather experiences that will change their lives, but they also discover how important it is to hold on to their heart's desires. Okay, so, I wanted to ask you guys one more question before we really start talking about the movie. And I wanted to ask you when you first saw the movie and what your thoughts were when you first saw it. So we'll start with you, Darkhour, since you're the guest. When did you first see the movie, and what were your thoughts when you first saw it?
So I remember seeing this when I was a teenager, like I said, 13 or 14. I think every kid around that time had a huge thing for Britney Spears. I mean, this was like peak innocence level Britney Spears, like before she kind of started doing the dirty.
Before she went batshit crazy.
Oh, we're going to be talking about that.
I mean, I have a lot of opinions on her going crazy, but for the most part, I just remember seeing it, and I was like, man, this as a teenager, like, this movie sucks. But when you put out the when you asked me to be on this and you gave me like a list of films, I have it playing right next to me, actually, so you might see the light go in and out.
No, right on.
When you gave me the list of films, I was like, you know what? I haven't seen it in so long, and people are always, saying, Darkhour, he just talks about action movies and comic book. I was like, you know what? Let's try something a little different. So that's why I jumped on this one. So.
Right on. And I'm glad you did. Vetta, when was the first time you saw this movie, and what were your thoughts on it?
Well, this is like an MTV production movie, so I did not see this in the theaters. I saw this when it made its way to MTV because This was a 2002, and I was in the prime of popping out babies in my life
Nice.
moment. So there were no movie theaters in my life. If it wasn't on TV, it didn't happen. So I probably seen it a year or two after it came out, or however long it took it to be on actual MTV.
Right on. Yeah, I didn't see this movie until I think 2004. Because I was doing an internship in Wisconsin like right after high school, and one of the roommates had it, and I watched it. Did not care for it then.
Oh God, you
Um,
roomed with someone who actually purchased
yeah,
it.
yeah.
Oh, that
So,
poor
so,
soul.
so, all right. So I wanted to just say right off the bat, I don't know about you guys, but I love this movie. I'm just gonna say that right now. I, I thought it was just super fun, and I even cried a little bit. I wrote down, I thought Britney Spears was kind of a good actress. I'm not gonna lie. There was times when she was crying a lot that I was like, I feel like she's doing it, but at the same time, with that whole arbitership and her going crazy, I'm like, are these real tears? Like, is she crying for her real life? Um,
Well, she's
I
always
think they
kind of
were
had
real.
right? Yeah, but I love Britney Spears and all her crazy. I don't know about you guys, but I
yeah.
just love her. Okay. So this movie starts out with the three main characters of this movie, and I just want you to know I am not going to be calling these women by their real names because it's going to be Britney Spears, Orange is the New Black, and Zoe Saldana. That's what I'm calling them.
No,
Okay.
Taryn Manning is her actual name.
Yeah, I'm just not. Yeah. I didn't remember that while watching. I was like, hey, I know her. That's Kentucky from Orange is the New Black, and I was like.
Pennsatucky.
Yeah, that
Pennsatucky.
one. Yeah, I was like, that's her name from now on. Okay, so they are besties, right? Okay, and they go and they all gather around this tree and they bury their wish box, right? And they each put a little something in there and everything. Which I just want to say, I wrote down in my notes. I was like, they got a really good actress to play the young Britney Spears. She looks almost exactly like Britney Spears. Went and looked it up. It's her sister.
Yeah,
I
it's
was
her
like,
little sister. Yeah.
I was like, well, I now know why she looks like. I was like, because sometimes they do that. They get a kid actor that looks like the adult, and you're like, man, they did a good job with that one. And I was like, they did a really good job, but it's her sister. So they bury this box.
Grabbed a sibling.
Yeah, they bury this box, and then 8 years later, they go to dig it up. All right. So now I don't know about you guys, but I just feel like this movie takes an emotional turn that I don't know about you guys, but it gave me the feels all throughout the entire movie. Like the twist ending, I did not expect that coming and everything because I totally forgot about everything that went on in this movie. And I just loved it. What
So
did
I
you
have
guys?
a question for you. How do you feel about after graduation and they went to like their senior party and it was like prom?
Well,
I was like,
yeah,
hi.
I, yeah, I didn't have a celebration like this after I
No.
graduated.
No, the
I walked
senior
off the
all-night
football
party
field
was.
and never looked back ever again for my
Right.
graduations.
Ain't that
Oh,
the
see, we had
truth?
a senior all-night party where they locked us in the school from like 10 o'clock at night until like
We,
8 in the
you know what?
morning.
So
Now that you
they
say that,
kidnapped you? That
right? Better now
Pretty
that you say that,
much.
we had one of those too. We had a hypnotist come, and
Yup.
it was yeah. We
was
had one of
just
those
that
too.
was so you would forget about all the shit that
Yeah,
happened
that's
as you were kidnapped. Yeah.
Exactly.
Like right now you're about to have like some flashes. You're like, oh my God, we were
yeah,
just kids. What
right.
happened?
That private tutoring with
That
that one
private,
teacher.
yeah.
It
So my
is
whole
kind of weird. It almost feels like in the movie itself, this was written with a prom originally in mind.
that's a good point.
And they didn't want to get rid of the sequences, so they just were like, oh well, let's just put prom like after. So one thing I will say is there's some bad written moments, but there is actually some solid through line stuff
Right
that
on.
happens and
Oh
like
yeah,
and
for
setup.
sure.
So
Yeah.
considering the fact it was an MTV movie, it's a little shocking.
Yeah. Like I said, I will tell you when I got emotional in this movie because
I
I
totally forgot Dan Aykroyd was the dad.
oh my God, right with his haircut, and I was like his little like buzz cut. I was like, hey, look at you and everything. Okay, so I was gonna mention the prom after graduation party, but I just real quick wanted to say like I love how it took him 8 years to become just total assholes. Like Zoe Saldana's character is all like walking around with her group of hookers, just being all like a total dick. And I love in movies when the main character sits around in their bedroom eating cereal and dancing and singing to Madonna. Because I'm all like, you know, she didn't get that body eating cereal. You know what I'm saying?
That's a
So.
yeah, that's a highly specific thing you love to see in movies. If I can.
I was
I
I do.
specifically really like when former members of the Mickey Mouse Club are in movies on from MTV Productions.
It doesn't have to be. It can be totally, you know, from Adventures of Babysitting, all that good stuff. I just like it when they're dancing around their room singing. It's so fun because it's so stupid. Like I don't know about anybody else, but I used to do that when I was a kid. Just sit around and sing in your bedroom and everything. So I'm like, I just love how
I
she
did
was.
that. I did that until my voice became like it is, and then I realized that like I wasn't going to be in a boy band anytime
Oh,
soon. So
gotcha. Right on, right
yeah.
on. Okay, so speaking of that like prom graduation party, right? So Kit, you know, Orange is the New Black. She shows up, right? And she's like, they're all like, you know, they're all giving her the stink eye and everything. Like, and she's like, you gonna keep your promise and everything. And both of the ladies, they're like, no, no bueno and everything. And I just love how she's all like, she's just got that like, sorry, I'm not a fucking nerd look on her face, like, and everything. I have to say, Britney Spears and Justin Long, who's in this movie for like a hot minute. Oh, I love Justin
I
Long and
love him
everything.
so
Yeah, I
much.
love him so much. But I love how they are gonna like they're gonna lose their V cards to each other,
Yeah,
right?
they
And you
have
know
like a
this was
virginity
his
pact.
idea.
Yeah, yeah, oh yeah, for sure. Okay, so here's my whole thing. First off, I want to ask you, you guys, and you can answer because Vetta, you're a female, Darkhour, you're a male. Um,
Mhm.
why did Justin Long throw baby powder all over his upper body? Like, what is that all
No
about?
idea.
Because I was like, I don't think that baby powder, if you're gonna put it somewhere, shouldn't be going on your upper body right before the deed. I was,
My best guess would be that he was sweating because he was
oh,
nervous.
that's a good one.
Um,
Maybe
Justin
it's
Long
prayed
play, first
too
of all,
much.
yeah. First of all, Justin Long might play the greatest nervous
For sure.
person ever. I mean,
Yeah.
up to that point, it was teenagers who played. And then later on in his career, it was nervous adults. But he does it so well,
Hmm.
which is why when he eventually would do that, when he played that gay porn star in Zack and Miri Make a Porno, it was so
Hmm.
out of character for him. It was crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
But
only
he
thing I
does.
could think of is he read somewhere to put baby powder on before.
Where would you read
I
that at?
don't know,
Like, that's
But it didn't specify where, so he
well,
just kind of was like,
and I'm not gonna lie, when I saw it, when I rewatched it and everything, I saw it and I was like, have I been doing sex wrong? Because should I be using baby powder? Like, I'm just like, I'm very curious now if baby powder is like the secret ingredient, you know, to maybe that would have helped when I lost my V card. Maybe that would have made it less
I
awkward.
think
Justin
I,
Long doesn't lose
I
shit.
don't think that you can make that experience less awkward no matter how hard you try.
I did write down that first off, I did write down I love his plaid cummerbund. I thought it was cool. I was like, I would have fucked him just for that. But I also I felt bad for him because I'm all like, you know what, Brittany, you cock tease him all 4 years of high school, and then you block him at the last minute. You're an asshole. I'm
Yeah,
like,
it's like
you got all
he made sure that you were the valedictorian, and now you're
right,
not gonna get on his
right.
dictorian. Come on.
Right. Sorry, I was drinking, and that's a good joke. Then it's Victorian.
I
Okay.
wish I could say that I wrote that down ahead of time, but I just kind of
No, that
made
was
that up.
good. No, I like that. Okay. I also I love how Zoe Saldana, I love how she's on the dance floor just cutting a rug. You know, she's just having a good time. And she sees Ben, who was Anson Mount. I'm like, oh my God, Anson Mount from like you know, but I love how in how the other girl's like, yeah, I heard he killed somebody. Bitch, how would you know that? Like, what's going on here? Like this is
Also, you generally he's like 19. He wouldn't be out of prison yet for killing somebody.
right
Like,
on, yeah.
But this is the story everybody knows because in
You're
the
right,
car
that's so
ride,
true.
they're
You're right,
like,
that's
they ask her, did he kill someone? She's like, I don't know, maybe.
maybe. Oh yeah, they are. Oh, I wrote this down later on when they get in the car with him. I'm like, this is so irresponsible that you're getting in a car. And he mentions it later on, but it's so irresponsible to get into a car with somebody that might have killed somebody. And like, Orange is the New Black, she's all defending him later on in the movie. She's all like, well, he's a good guy. He's my friend. I'm like, that doesn't make it okay. Like, what are you doing, ladies? movies.
I've heard stories about Dahmer. He apparently had friends too.
Right.
Canceled. You mentioned Dahmer.
Yeah, you're canceled. Yeah, you're canceled, fucker. Did you hear that? Okay,
I
so
will say this though,
go
they're
ahead.
terrible to Taryn Manning's character. Well, she's Mimi, right? That's the name of the
Yeah,
character.
Mimi.
I
Yeah.
watched it a little while ago. Like I said, I hadn't seen it in what, 20 years.
Oh, yeah.
You know, but they're so terrible to her. And I knew
So
a couple of
mean.
girls that got pregnant in high school, and you know, there was a mixture. There's people who say things, but like for the most part, I think most people just kind of either ignore it because it's awkward to bring up or supportive, but they're like, it's universal here.
Yeah.
Like she is just persona non
Oh
grata.
yeah.
Like,
She's practically a leper in this movie. Like she's
yeah.
walking down the hallway and like one guy's all like, "Hey, me," and I'm like, "What are you doing? Looking like a lizard over there? What
Like
is
she's
that?"
someone already got there, bro. You don't
Yeah,
need to
yeah.
like.
And then one person's like, "When's the baby due?" I'm a bitch. What do you care when the baby
Like
is due? Like what?
after graduation,
Right, exactly. It's so okay. So Mimi shows up to the dance thingy, and she's all like, "Are y'all coming?" And both ladies say no, like they forgot no and everything. But they all show up to the tree to get the wish box, right? And we find out what their wishes were. Okay, and I wrote it down. So Brittany, her wish is to find her mom. And Zoe Saldana's character, her wish is to get married. And I'm like, oh, how to be original. And then Orange is the New Black, hers is to get the fuck out of Dodge. Like she's like, I just want to leave this town. And I'm like, okay. I'm like, all of these sound totally doable. Like I'm all like, I thought it would be something, crazy. But I love how and you were talking about how they're mean to Mimi. I love how she's all like, I got a record label that's gonna and she that's gonna like look at me and give me a deal. And then Zoe Saldana's character is like, oh, what are you gonna do? Be a big fat pregnant star? And I'm like, hey, you need to calm down, Zoe Saldana. You're being a bitch for
Honestly,
no reason.
I'm not gonna lie, there might be a market for that. I mean, could
Hmm.
you, but like after, I mean, that's a very limited shelf life that she could be the pregnant teenager star. Like it doesn't really. After you,
Right
there's
on.
a 9-month maximum to that for the most part.
For sure, for
So
sure.
it's
I did.
like-
There's a 9 month maximum. I'm right on. I did write down. Okay, I wrote down here. I totally forgot to say. But when Mimi is defending Ben, because I got to the part of my notes where I'm like, it's not really smart to get into a car with a killer. But she wrote down he did his time, and I'm all like, that doesn't mean that it's okay. I mean,
And
you know what?
if Britney Spears' character is the valedictorian, shouldn't she been able to do the math and go, wait, did he do his time or did he break out of jail? Because murderers are there for a long time, not just a
Mhm.
year
usually
or
it's
two,
25 years minimum. Even
not
even
18
if they
months.
yeah, not like 18
Right.
months.
Right
But
on.
yeah, one thing that came to mind as I was watching this, and I couldn't stop thinking about it, I was like, I can't believe that Zoe Saldana would go on from this to be the highest grossing female actress of all time because she was in 4 $1 billion movies in a
Right.
row. Like, what
Right.
is...
That's so funny. And so
Now,
true.
granted, she didn't have much of a role in 2 of those. Well, in one of those in
Right.
Endgame, but in 3 of the movies that made that amount of money, she was very prominent. So
Yes, and Taryn Manning, she went on to be in the great movie Karen. I don't know if you guys saw it, but it's pretty awesome. Okay. So, they all decide Karen is not Karen, Mimi. She's getting the fuck out of Dodge. Yeah, Karen. She's getting the fuck out of Dodge, right? And she gets Ben to drive them. And I just want to say, Ben, throughout this entire movie, I don't understand how Britney Spears wasn't getting the clue because he was macking on her the whole time. First off, at the gas station, he asks about her. He's like, "Hey, is she like, what's her thing and everything?" And then I don't know if you guys noticed this, but at the diner when they're eating, he's putting the ketchup back and he puts his arm
yes,
around her shoulder. And I was like, "Look at you, Ben, putting the moves all secret like I see what you're doing here. I see what you're doing here. You got some good moves or whatnot."
Matt's going, damn it, I wish I would have thought of that in my
Yeah.
dating
man, I
years.
could have had
I had
Britney
my-
Spears in her
I
prime.
You're right. I had my own moves. I had personality. Okay. So,
Oh,
okay.
I didn't have that. I was in high school. I was a bore, man. I
Matt's
mean, I still am. But
personality was metrosexual, so a lot
Yeah.
of girls go, "Are we dating or are
I'm
you
not
my
gonna
gay
lie.
best friend?"
I'm not gonna lie, Vetta. When I first met Matt and he said, "Hey, my children and my wife," and I was like, "Well, does your boyfriend know about them?
Yeah,
'Cause
yes, he knows. He knows. He's fine. We have an arrangement. Okay, so
I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna throw this out there though. I've seen
throw
pictures.
it.
He does some manly work. He's driving the forklift. He's doing all sorts of manly work.
Yeah,
Don't let the voice
yeah,
fool you.
yeah,
And
like
he's
a
in
real
good shape
man.
too. Don't let the
Well,
Well,
that
voice
is
fool
thank
you.
usually how the
you.
closeted act, you know. They're over masculine.
He's like out there. He's like, yeah, look at this. I don't even need the forklift. I'll just
I
put
don't
it up on
even
the
need.
Working off
shelf.
the dad bod. Did you work out today?
I'm a zaddy. I'm a zaddy. Okay. Okay. And then so they are driving. And oh, I loved when I didn't write this down, but I love when they were driving and they didn't like Ben's music, so they turned the radio and it happens to be an NSYNC song. And I was just like, I wonder if she was dating Justin Timberlake at the time. I didn't look it up. It would be interesting.
I think she was. I think
Oh, okay.
she was like 20 when this was being filmed.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
But I did
probably because they were like pretty much up through their teens, and then right into like it wasn't until their early adult years that they kind of started to drift apart.
right on. Yeah, I did think that was fun. But okay, so the car breaks down, right? And I love how okay, so Zoe Saldana's character in Orange is the New Black, they get into like a physical altercation, okay? And I'm the whole time I'm all like, she is pregnant. You can't fight physically with a pregnant woman, you crazy bones. Both of you are crazy.
You've clearly
And
never been to New Jersey.
I've never been to
There's pregnant brawls, man. You go to a bar and you're like, why is that chick here? And they're like, why are you have any fucking questions, you asshole?
I've never been to New
stay attached.
Jersey. You're so right. I've never been to New Jersey. So I also love how they're all like, we do not belong together. This trip is over. And I'm all like, well, why did you go in the first place? Because clearly you guys don't like each other because you guys haven't talked in 8 years, and then all of a sudden you're deciding to go on a cross country road trip. Like, what are you doing here?
And when the cars broke down, should that be the time that you're saying we're going to
Right,
go
right,
our
yeah, we're gonna go
separate
separate,
ways?
Yeah, we're gonna go our
When you
separate ways
don't-
with the $7 we have in our pocket.
Right, no
aka
transportation.
potato chips.
Well, hey, that's true. They have no money, but there is a fantastic karaoke contest that just happens to have the $350 whatever prize money plus
Plus
extra.
you're gonna keep,
No, it
keep
was
all the
whatever you could-
tips.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
you keep all the
It
tips.
was whatever you could take with you, basically.
Yes, which is exactly the amount the amount they need to fix that car there.
How much do you need? A pile about this big.
Yeah, right,
That's
exactly. Can I just say, when they did I want to talk about this karaoke contest and this whole bar situation anyways. I loved when they're about to, Mimi's gonna sing, okay, but she can't do it because she's stage fright. And I'm all like, if you can't do this, you can't be a big fat pregnant star. Just not gonna work, okay?
Yeah,
But she's
now
like-
she has stage fright.
Yeah, and I love
Probably.
how she's just immediately to Britney. She's like, "You have to do it." I'm like, "I'm okay." Besides the fact that she's Britney Spears, she has offered nothing to us that she's like a singer.
No, that's not true. Because the choir teacher at
Oh, that's
graduation
a good point. Yeah, you're
tells
right.
her,
You're right.
I hope you're going to continue singing in college. And her dad's like, no, we're double
gonna be-
majoring in
You're gonna
bio
be-
and chemistry.
Yeah, she's gonna be a doctor. She's gonna be a
Yeah.
doctor. Okay, yeah, no, you're right. I take it back. I forgot that part. So she's like, you have to do it. So then she starts rocking out to I love rock and roll. But before she does this, there is this Joe Dirt looking motherfucker in the thing, and he's like, get off the. And do you guys notice he like puts up his hand and he's like giving a high five. He's like, get off the stage. And I was like, what's he doing with his hand? What is that? And then as soon as they start singing, he's dancing all weird. Like I was like, what's your problem, Joe Dirt? You're weird. Me, I don't like you at all. You're way weirder than the guy with the frosted tips. I do not like you. Not one fucking
I
bit.
just got to the part with the ketchup. It's at a Waffle House. I didn't even notice that before.
Oh yeah. It's in a Waffle House. I didn't remember that
That
either.
just goes to show you how little money they had. They had to go. To
The Waffle House is good though. I love Waffle House.
No, I remember the first time I ever went into a Waffle House. I think I had like a 20 on me. I was like, I wonder if I'm gonna be able to get anything. And I was like, I can get the whole menu for this.
You get the
What
whole
is
menu.
going on here?
That's so true. You get the
And
whole
leave a
menu.
very generous
Yeah,
tip.
you can. And maybe see a fight. It might, you never know. You never know. Okay. So, and I loved when Ben fought the guy with the frosted tips because he was like macking on Britney Spears and she just wasn't feeling everything. But then after he gets into the fight with the guy with the frosted tips, because I don't remember if he had a name. They go to that hotel, which I don't know about you guys, but that hotel freaked me out because it had the gold wallpaper and the drapes. I was like, what's going on
Yeah.
here?
It looked like something Trump would have came up with.
Yeah,
Like, I want
right.
everything to
Yeah.
be gold all over the place.
Yeah. It'll be the
Don't
best
you
hotel
remember in like
ever.
the late 90s, early 2000s, they had those hotels that would have like the themed rooms? That's what I
Oh
thought of.
my
I was like, all right, where's the heart-shaped hot tub or the
Right on.
spaceship
Well,
bed?
what was the theme of that one? Madame Tussauds? Like it was so like it was okay. So I love how Ben's all like no, and he's like I'm gonna go and be myself. I can't remember exactly what he's, but I was like, is he going and pouting because he fought a dude and won? Like, why is he going to pout? He's just all like,
Because
feel
he's
bad
not
for
getting
me.
laid because he fought a dude and won, and he thought
Well,
that was
well,
gonna
that's
get him laid.
that's one thing that he says, and like it was almost a layup that they could have had. He has a line where he's like, when they're driving his car, and he's like, "Look, do you know what it's like to be with three girls the whole?" And all he had to all he had to say was like, "And not get laid."
Right?
That's so true. That's so true.
Especially when one of them is already pregnant.
Right.
Right, the damage is already done. There are no consequences to that one. It's a sure thing.
Yeah.
Right on.
I ain't pulling out of that one.
Right, exactly. That's so true. So I love how they're like getting drunk and they're telling their stories and everything. But one thing that I had forgotten about this movie, and that was the twist part of it, that I was just one of the twists, was that Orange is the New Black. Oh, well, Zoe Saldana, she was all like talking about her mom and how she's verbally abusive and everything. And she's like, being fat is like the worst thing ever. And I'm all like, okay, calm it down, sister, and everything. But then Orange is the
And
New
I was like,
Black.
what kind of fat camp did she go to? Because
Right.
more people should go to that one.
Right, for sure, for sure.
Not only
The
that,
one,
well, here's the thing: is she had to go 4 or 5 times. She said,
right on,
apparently she
yeah.
wasn't
Yeah, it's the one that Ben Stiller ran. Okay, so
heavyweight.
yeah.
Oh,
And I
bring me
love
back on if you ever do that movie. I fucking
Okay,
love
we
that
will.
movie.
We will. Promise. Promise. So I love how. Okay, so this is the part that threw me for because I totally forgot about it. How Orange is the New Black. How she's all like she was struggle snuggled. Okay, so I'm all like, oh my god, I totally forgot about the struggle snuggles, and I'm like, oh my god, this is a good twist. This is like M. Night Shyamalan twist for me personally, because I was like, ooh, this is so much depth to this story now. Which we find out who it was later on, which I'll just say right now
You
was
didn't know
totally.
what
No,
right away.
I totally got to, no, you know how bad I am at
You
guessing
are
these things.
terrible.
So I was like, she was struggle snuggled? No fucking way. And I'm sitting in my office just like I'm all like, talking to myself and everything. So they decide to the next day they are gonna go. Was it the next day? Hold on. Oh, yeah, okay.
I
So
have the movie up if you need me to look up a
no,
specific
it's
scene.
okay. It's okay. I remember now because I just wrote down my notes and everything. I just write down little things. Okay. So Ben is passed out in the back seat of the
Yeah.
car. So they're all like, well, Ben's passed out. He's been driving, he's tired. We're just going to let him sleep and we're going to drive ourselves. So Lucy, she gets in the car and she decides to drive the car. Now, first off, I just want to say, while they were driving, they were singing. And they were singing Shania Twain, right? I have two things to say. One, three things to say. First thing, I feel like they put everybody's lives in danger by letting a woman drive. Two, at one point in time, Britney Spears actually closes her eyes while driving, and I was like, clearly women should not drive. And three, why did when Britney Spears says the line, "Let's go, girls," why does Zoe Saldana laugh like she told the funniest fucking joke of all time? Like I'm like, why are you laughing right now? I've sung that song a million times and nobody laughed at that part. And what was that all about? And I was like,
I have
come
a
on.
feeling I think I might be able to answer that question. Usually when you have scenes like that, they're not actually filmed. So like they're filmed weird. It's like they kind of film all of it and then just throw all whatever they have in. So I wouldn't be shocked if those two sequences of her laughing was not from the main, like, of them singing. Like they were probably lip syncing and someone did something stupid and she laughed and then they went back over it. And, so that's
Now that
probably what
you
happened there.
Okay, well, I'm going to address your driving. I have driven with both you and your twin. You are the worst.
Yeah, you
People
are
will not
incorrect.
get in the car with
The twin
two of
is
you.
Cat Matt 38, by the way.
And
That's
I
it.
drive,
And he has a twiddle mustache.
right. And I drive so much that I put like 50,000 miles a year on my car.
I'm an excellent driver.
So I'm an excellent driver. Thank you very much. Okay, I've never cartooned it into a fire hydrant and then been pissed that the
I
water
was hit. I was hit, fucker.
You were speeding.
I was. Okay, I was
The only
speeding.
thing that
I
saved
was
you is the
speeding, but that
cop said
doesn't mean it's
to the
my
other
fault.
person.
You know what? Okay,
It
we're gonna
doesn't
talk about
matter
this.
if you were
Hey,
speeding.
that fucking fire hydrant came out of nowhere.
She hit me. She hit me, and my car went into the fire hydrant. Asshole. That was 110% not my fault, even if I was speeding, and I was only going like
never
3
post
over.
a video saying that I hit a fire hydrant and I was pissed off that the water didn't shoot up out of it like in the movie.
Well, I was hoping for that. Okay. This is the last episode with you on it, Vetta. Okay,
and
so
I have news for you, sir.
Isn't
If
this
we
like
put a
your job?
GoPro in your car and rode to work with you, people would be like, I'm not getting in a car with you.
There would be a lot of cunts being thrown
Yeah,
out. Okay.
a lot of cunts. And why the fuck
we're
are you
allowed to
on
say
the
that?
road?
Okay, I just wanted to double check that because I'm definitely going to be calling the mother in this movie.
For sure. Yeah,
Oh,
we will be.
for
Okay, I
sure.
want to double check that I'm allowed to say that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so I want to talk about after Ben wakes up and he finds Lucy and the girls driving his car, his total fucking meltdown. So I don't know about you guys, but I can throw a meltdown, but I'm never like kicking up sand. Like he was like band marching that shit, and it was weird. I was like, what kind of fit is this? What did you guys
He
think
was
about
like
his?
goose stepping, like all
Yeah.
of a sudden the Fuhrer was watching. He was like, aha, yes.
Well,
Yeah.
they were in the desert. There wasn't much but the dirt.
Yeah, like what was he really gonna do? Go grab a cactus and throw it? Like what was he gonna do?
Like the whole time I'm all like, this is such a weird like tantrum. Like I'm just all like, you could have done a way better tantrum than this one. So and his rationale was, you guys, I've been with you ladies for like 3 days now. The only thing I have left that's like mine is my car, and you guys just ruined it. He's like, that's my car. And I'm all like, okay, yeah, we got it. It's your car. And then they decide to have,
so it was somebody else's first.
Right, yeah, for sure. Yeah, he does need to calm down. He was acting crazy. So
Yeah, he
they
definitely
then
needs to chill because there's definitely been babies conceived in the back of that car before.
for sure.
For sure.
For sure. And then they have a camp out, which I loved. I was like, camp out for no reason.
No. Camping is when you die.
Right, for sure. Yeah, no, I'm not. Yeah, I'm not for me. I'm no camp outs for me. I'm not interested. And I love how, okay, so they're sitting around the campfire and Anson Mount, Ben, he goes, what are you writing? Britney Spears, you're always writing in that little book. What are you writing? And so she reads her poem, which just happens to be the lyrics to what is it? Not a girl, not yet a woman. So which I was like, I hear a song coming on, guys. And so
she has way better songs than that I'm like,
I
really?
agree,
That's
I
the
agree.
best Britney
But-
we could
Well,
get.
this song was specifically written and made for this movie.
Right.
So that's
Yeah,
why
that
that's
still
why
doesn't make it any better.
Yeah,
I'm not saying it makes it better. I'm just saying why they used
But
it.
they could have found other Britney stars or Britney songs to slide in there that would have fit as well.
I will say I'm glad that they didn't take all of her songs from like her albums and put them periodically through the movie because I do like it when they do that, but not for this because they were trying to take this movie seriously, not be camp. Okay.
Yeah.
So now I think we can talk about Britney Spears' mom, which she is Kim Cattrall, played by Kim Cattrall. Love Kim Cattrall. Don't love this character she's playing.
No.
So I'll let one of you start because I have thoughts on the mom and everything. But Darkhour, why don't we go ahead and start with you? What did you think about her and the meeting of the mom?
So it's probably the first twist, so to say.
Yeah.
Because there's like 3 or 4 twists, and even kind of this almost is like the first false finish because you almost feel like the movie's ending, even though it's not. It definitely plays off like an ending, and they don't really do much with it. I almost feel like they set up for a lot of nothing with it. She's just kind of a bitch. She's a cunt, whatever you want to call her.
She's a
twat.
cunt.
Whatever. It turns out that she didn't want her, and the father forced her to. It's like, but then she had other kids, and it's like, so you just. You might be the worst mother I've ever seen on screen. Like you may
yeah.
actually be the worst one.
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny because Kim Cattrall came up, playing whores like her whole
Yeah, right.
career. She was
Yeah,
like
right.
really good at it.
Right.
So for her to end up going from that to being like, well, I didn't really want this kid anyway. It's kind of a logical transition.
Right.
But she doesn't really play much of a role. They build up for it, and it's a decent payoff because it allows her to move on. But I kind of wish they would have had her say a little bit more and be a little bit more prominent in at least the scene she's in, because she's barely even in the scene she's in.
Right.
It's mostly told through pictures that she has on the mantle, and it's the payoff for the other storylines is better than this one. This almost feels like it was tacked on because they set up for it and they had to do it.
Right.
Unfortunately, my favorite thing is that Britney Spears character apparently just on the one day that it rains in Arizona, she just happens to have to walk to the hotel.
Right. Yeah. Right.
And she has I can just imagine she walked like 20 miles in the rain, just and I could can you imagine if someone tried to pick her up? She's like, nah, I'm just not.
So explain this to me. Why did the dad not? Because they know where the mom is this whole time. The dad knows. The same thing. Why did he not call her and pre-warn her so she could come up with a better way of saying, "I didn't want you"? Yeah, all she had to do, especially when there's pictures of two other kids sitting on the mantle, just say, "I wasn't ready. Your father was. Then I met someone and I was ready to give him children." Because there are people that that they get married and they're like, "I don't want kids." And then you hear about them getting divorced. And then, 10 years later, you run into them at the mall and they've got twins. They met the person or whatever. People can change your mind. So I just go, she's a shitty person, because that was the most tactful way she could do it. Right. And I get it. The movie was kind of like, we need to just get this in there. So just say you didn't want her and let's move on. But in real life, the dad wouldn't have called her, or the dad wouldn't have been there.
Yeah, I did write down if she, because they just pull up she already knew where she was, and I'm all like, so well, if you already knew, honey, why you just why do you need to find your mom?
Now that you mention it, I didn't even think of that. How the fuck did she know where the house was?
Yeah, exactly. She just pulled up and I'm all like, wait, you knew where her address was the whole time? I thought they would flip open in a phone book and be like,
I'm pretty sure her dad told her that where her mom was.
Which is crazy to me. I did write down the mom sucks, but I also wrote down, I love how when she opens the door and she just gets this repulsed look on her face, you're here, ugh, and everything. She knows who she is, and she's just like, ugh, and everything. And then she's
Do you think she was one of those moms that just didn't want to have a daughter?
Maybe.
Saw the daughter and was like, oh,
now, ugh. Ew. And then, I love how she's like, why are you here? And I'm like, bitch, she came to visit her mom. What are you talking about? Why are you here? You haven't been in her life her whole life. She wants to see you, you fucking asshole. Duh.
Again, I'm like, why did the father not prepare her better or be there to support her?
Exactly.
This whole scene is just therapy. This is why Britney Spears had a meltdown.
That'd be so good. That'd be good. Okay, so then she's back at the hotel, and Ben, I just want to say right now, Ben sets up this little thing for her, which I thought it was super fucking cute. So he goes, and he had the best response, and I can't remember exactly what he said, but he brings her into this room with a piano in it, and she's like, is this a surprise for me? And he's like, well, yeah, or if it wouldn't be really weird if I just brought you into this room, or I can't remember exactly what he said. I was like, that's actually a reasonable response to that question or whatever. So he sets up this piano where he has written a melody to her poem, aka the song Not a Girl, Not Yet a Woman. And I love how Britney Spears is just like da 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 da, does that little thing that she's doing, like she doesn't already know the fucking song by heart and everything. And I wrote down, I was like Ben deserves to take her V card just for setting this whole fucking thing up, because this is super cute. I'm surprised she didn't just let him, throw her on the piano right then and there.
Have a pretty woman moment on top
Exactly,
of the
exactly.
piano.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was like. I was like, oh, he needs a pretty woman that shit because he deserves it and everything. Don't worry, he gets it later. So okay, speaking of that, so Zoe Saldana and Orange is the New Black, they decide that they're gonna go. Well, they're gonna go out and do some sightseeing or whatever, and but Ben
But
and
Zoe
Britney
has other
Spears.
plans.
Yeah, Zoe
That's
has
her
other plans.
ruse.
Well, yeah, she calls her. So one of the one plot thread that you really haven't mentioned is that her fiance
Mm,
lives in
right.
LA, which is
Yeah,
the only
I
reason they were
did.
able to really kind of convince her to come.
Yeah, it's exactly. I
Uh,
totally forgot because she is engaged to be married and her
Which
boyfriend lives
who
there.
proposes to somebody when they're a freshman in college and they're a senior in high school?
I
Who
mean,
does that?
if they
I
look like
don't.
Zoe Saldana, I might.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
know.
She.
Well, yeah,
This
and
was
that because after we see him, he kind of looks like a full-on tool. So,
Yeah,
yeah, she was definitely above his pay
He
grade
looks
for
exactly
sure.
like what you're expecting.
yeah. He was not hot at all.
he has
No.
the middle parted blonde hair, like dirty
And the
blonde
girl that's
hair.
in his apartment
Is
is
not.
his equal.
Yeah, she's
Yeah.
not as hot as Zoe Saldana. Ben and Britney Spears they stay behind because they're gonna do the nasty, and they do the Humpty Dumpty,
Which
and
might I
so
add, I love how they set it up. They're like, "Oh, you sure you want to do this?" Yeah, I want to do it right on this ground level balcony where we
right,
have the windows wide open. What is
right.
going on? Let's just do it right here in broad daylight.
Well, the first
And
time
then
is
we
always
won't hear
awkward.
from my
Where
friends for
someone
at
walking their
least 9
dog could get
hours.
a
Right,
show.
yeah. Right. So, okay, so Zoe and Orange, they go to visit the fiance and everything. And this is the part where of this whole sequence of events, like I was like every time they mentioned, I was like, oh, and then I cried at one point. Okay, so this is what
I
happened.
can't believe that you did not know
Dude,
that in
I
advance.
didn't. I'm so bad at this because I was just like, they show up at the boyfriend's house, and I mean, I figured he was cheating because that's usually how it is. I'm like, when you're long distance and everything, but they show up, and he's got another woman in the apartment, and then
He has the greatest excuse ever
yeah,
too. He's like,
right.
I got like a friend in here, and he's like having a real hard time, and like
Right.
we're just like hanging out.
And then the woman is all like, "You need money for the pizza," and it's like, "Bitch, if he needed money for the pizza, he would have asked you before he grabbed the pizza." But okay, so then
Which
we
might I
find
add,
out.
that's a cool setup. This guy comes over, this chick comes over, fucks him, and then is willing to pay for the
Right,
pizza.
right,
Like,
yeah,
She
where is
treats
this?
him to dinner.
yeah, and that
I
yeah,
wish I would have gone to
right,
UCLA. Like
yeah, that.
seriously, those like those progressive women out there they just got
Yes.
it going. They're just
Yeah, the dick had to be real good for that bullshit.
You're like, shit, if I don't open a door, she's not getting in the car.
Right. And so we find out that that Orange, she was struggle snuggled by the fiance. And that was the part where I was like, "Oh, I forgot about this part. I didn't realize it was the boyfriend." I was like, "Oh, that's good. That's good. It was the boyfriend." And so
it's fantastic.
yeah.
Yes, misery. Let's
Yes, exactly.
go.
So that little twist, I was like, "Oh my goodness." And then she's all like, you say sorry to her and everything. Well, then Orange, she starts to leave and she trips down the stairs. And I just want to say something because she was crying and everything. I was like, "I feel for you, girl," and everything. The part that kind of took me out of it was when Orange, when she trips and they do like a voiceover where she just does this and I was like, "Oh, that took me out of that wasn't very convincing." That and I was like, and she falls and then she gets taken to the hospital where they tell her she lost the baby. Now, this is the part where I completely broke down. I was like, and she's all like, "They told me I lost the baby. Like it was like I lost my set of keys." And she's like, "That doesn't even make any sense." I was like, "That doesn't make any fucking sense, girl." And then she's like, "I would have been a good mom." I was like, "You would have been such a good mom," and everything. And she's talking about like, she's like,
Never mind the fact that she was looking at brochures on how to dump this baby off on somebody else.
And
like,
then
yeah, they just gave me a booklet of like people you can give babies to.
yeah.
All of the responsibility gone, poof,
Yeah,
forever.
exactly. Because she was like, I was on the beach and I felt her kick, and that's when I knew I wanted to keep her. And I was like, you wanted to keep her, so good, so good.
This is why she ended up on the Orange is the New Black, because
Yeah, right.
of the trauma
She had like
she
75
received
abortions
from this
the
role.
character.
Every time she
I want to
turned
throw this out
around.
there. I want to throw this out there. If anybody out there listening likes Orange is the New Black, do yourselves a favor. Watch Wentworth. It's an Australian show.
Yes, it's
way
so
better
good.
than Orange is the New
Yes,
Black. Like, fantastic.
it's so good.
Right on. Never seen it.
But I'm like, she gets re-traumatized so many times.
So many times, like she's just
You just keep dredging it up. They're just like, so you were raped? Like,
yeah.
Let's bring that up. Also, like, I want to bring you to my clearly cheating boyfriend.
Oh, wait, and he's your rapist?
Oh, yeah, but they don't know that. But the thing that throws that tips her is that, the blue beer bottle that was mentioned in the story.
But then she's all like, grabs her when she tries to leave and is like, no, you're going to apologize. And she's like, clearly wants to run. So
no, I want to get away from this guy. Last time I was in close quarters with him, this happened.
Things didn't go so well.
And then she's traumatized again because she loses the baby and has to go through all of that in the hospital. I'm like, yeah.
She was really far along. So I know they downplay it because it's a movie, but in real life, she was at the point where a miscarriage would have been. I mean, it's always devastating to have a miscarriage, obviously, but it's especially devastating when you're at a certain point because you still have to like go through the motions, so to say, and
because they can't just do a D&C. You actually have to deliver.
Yeah, it's like crazy.
You know, if it happens early enough, your body kind of deals with it, so to say. But you know, I don't want to downplay that. It's still a very terrible thing that happens to people. But when you're like 6-7 months, like she is, because if you do the math, they mentioned it was during Christmas break.
Yep.
And it's June, so you're saying she's like, you know, almost 7 months. So she's pretty far along. She's in the third trimester. She's going to have to go through the whole motions.
Yeah.
Right on. So
that's what I mean. She's just traumatized.
Yeah.
Like, it's a good thing they weren't in San Francisco. She'd be paying the Golden Gate Bridge a visit. I mean, it's crazy.
The Golden, nice. Okay, so so the dad shows up, Dan Aykroyd, and he's all like, "What were you thinking?" And he's gonna take them all back to Georgia. I think
she's a little late.
All I could think when he showed up was the scene from Rocky when after Paulie finds out that Rocky slept with Adrian. He's like, "Oh, you're broken. You're broken."
Right. That's good. So like as they're driving away, Britney Spears, and I can't remember exactly what she says, but she's like, "Dad, don't make me like mom, like run away like mom or whatever." And I'm like, you know, this is actually not a bad line. I actually, and then she gets out.
She says, don't make me, you know, like mom ran away, basically, you know, don't make me do what she did.
Yeah.
You know, let me go. I literally just finished it. So I remember that line very.
Yeah. So she gets out of the car and she decides she's going to stay. And then the other girls, they get out of the car and they decide that they're going to stay. And they go to the audition that Orange was supposed to do, but Britney Spears is now doing, which I just want to say this last audition was so fucking good, that last performance, because I liked the top she was wearing. She looked so good with that belly shirt and everything. And she's got the little shawl or whatever.
All I could think was like in that moment, like it would be like a shattering moment where they're like, wait a minute, we just realized you're Britney Spears. Why aren't you auditioning?
Right. And I love how the crowd loves her song. They're just like, this is the best song ever. And so then to wrap up the whole, because they, you know, they live happily ever after, whatever in the end, but to wrap it all up, they go back to Georgia. In which I'm all like, and they make another wish box and they put all new stuff in there, and then they all end up happily ever after. And I just want to say that even though this movie was a like a roller coaster of emotions and feelings, I loved every fucking minute of it. I was so happy the whole time, like in terms of watching a movie. I remember not liking it the first time I watched it, but this time I'm like thoroughly enjoying it the whole time. So, what did you guys think of once the movie was all said and done, watching it now?
You want me to go first?
Yeah, you go ahead. You're our guest. You go first.
So, I part of me was like, I picked it because I wanted to flex, spread my wings, so to say. Like, oh, this is definitely outside of my comfort zone. And it still has some real silliness to it, but the actual through lines of, first of all, the name is fantastic. They're all at a crossroads of their life. Whoever sat down and came up with a name for the movie, the title, that person deserves an Oscar just for doing that. Well, Oscars don't matter, People's Choice Awards or some shit. But there's goofy moments. There's things where I'm like, okay, that didn't make much sense. But for an hour and a half, because that's what it is. It's like a 1 hour, 32-minute movie. It's nothing. And they get a lot of storylines in there, and with like 3 or 4 finishes. Usually you have that false finish syndrome, which is what I call it, and it's because a movie is too long. They have they finish every storyline quickly. Everything's efficient, and it's mostly driving from one location to location, but it never really drags. And at this point in her life, I mean, even now Britney's not really bad looking, but this was like peak hotness Britney. So you're like, yeah, okay, I like the low cut tops and stuff. I'm cool with that. And even Zoe Saldana was younger. I think she looks better later in life. I think than she did when she was younger. But and Taryn Manning, she's hilarious all the time. A lot of like her body language is her thing. It's a pretty solid movie. I'm not gonna give it like this huge, like it's an A+ or a 10. But it's like I didn't mind watching it. It was definitely worth my time. To re-experience something I hadn't seen in 20 years.
Yeah. Vetta, what about you?
Yeah, I'm going to disagree. This was not a roller coaster ride for me. There's a reason this was only the second time I've ever seen this movie. I didn't like it the first time. I would agree. It has silly moments, but it is, I don't know. I feel like it was trying to be something it wasn't. I didn't like it. And the sad thing is I love all 3 of these women. And it has it has an amazing cast. I mean, you look at this cast alone. If you told me today I got this great movie and you said it's got Britney Spears, it's got Dan Aykroyd, it's got Kim Cattrall.
Britney Spears now. I mean, come on.
Yeah, but you know what I mean. It could still even be a movie from 20 years ago, and you tell me you've got this great movie, it's going to be amazing, and you just listed off the cast. I would be like, I am there. I love all of these people. This is going to be amazing. I would be pissed and we wouldn't be friends if this is the movie you showed me. Because
okay.
I don't think it's fantastic. I mean, but it does what it's trying to do.
I think it's fantastic.
Yeah, it's got its moments, but there's a reason it's an MTV production.
It's very efficient, and that's the thing that I will give it. It's very efficient with its time. It doesn't drag. It doesn't feel like it takes
and it does
forever,
what MTV wanted.
Exactly. It pushed a song. And like if I had to give it a grade, I'm giving it like a C. I'm not giving it like an A,
Well, see, I'm giving it an A. I loved every minute of it. It was so good.
Your brain, I would love to know
your brain is messed up, okay?
Your brain is fabulous momies and you're like, this was shit. And I'm like, this is literally a cult classic. How is this
that's the mega geek in that influence that he has. It's shit. Mega Geek has 2 levels. It's shit or it's the greatest thing he's ever seen.
So I just wanted to ask one more question before we wrap this up, but I wanted to ask you guys if you wanted to say anything else about this movie that we didn't touch on, or that a scene or a line or a character or whatever that you wanted to bring up before I ask my last question.
I have one. So Dan Aykroyd's character is kind of hilariously both underplayed, and then when they do have him on screen, he kind of just commands all of this. He's clearly the best actor in the movie. Let's just get that out of the way. But he's barely on screen. But one of my favorite moments is he flies out right at the end, and he's like, I spent all this money to come and get you, and we're leaving right now. And it's like, I mean, you're already here. Why don't you just let her maybe get a shit ton of money on this audition? Like,
right.
Like, it's a free audition. What's the worst case scenario? Is that you guys fly back afterwards?
You say that, and I'm like, take this opportunity, see some sights, go to the beach.
Right on.
If he's right.
Like,
you already spent
there
the money
anyway. Like you clearly you did. Also, another thing he says, you know how much I saved for your education. She's the valedictorian. She's gonna have scholarships. Use that money for fun. Like, what are you doing? She doesn't need it. She's gonna be covered.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So real quick, I just want to say, did you guys know that Shonda Rhimes wrote this movie?
I noticed that as I loaded it up.
Yeah, I was like, that's interesting.
Fucking Grey's Anatomy chick.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's got its issues too.
For sure. Okay, so last question I want to ask you guys is, would you recommend this movie? Darkhour, would you recommend this movie?
Maybe to like women, like, fans of the but not necessarily. Like, I'm not gonna. This isn't a thing I'm gonna sit here and be like, yeah, let's pop open the tequila, sit down and watch some. Let's get a pizza and we'll watch Crossroads. Not that,
I got a movie, guys, you're gonna love.
Right on.
I would say, if someone asked me, hey, is there worse ways to spend your time? There's no, yeah, I guess. It wasn't. It was a fun little capsule. That's what I would say. It definitely was a product of its time, and you can see that, which is always kind of fun. It doesn't try to be anything it's not. So, like, if someone was like a Britney Spears fan and hadn't seen it, or, I would probably suggest it to them. Someone who didn't know about her when she was younger. That's probably who I would suggest it to.
Right on. Vetta, would you suggest this movie?
Not this movie specifically. I would kind of be like, you want to see some movies go off the rail, just check out any MTV production movie. They're all kind of a hot mess. No, I would not recommend this movie. You don't even get like an amazing soundtrack to it. It's no. Mm-mm.
Okay. All right. Cool. I would suggest this movie.
Of course you would. Of course you would.
So, okay, well, then since you guys were all going to be done, I'm going to wrap this sucker up. But before we do, Darkhour, can you tell everybody where they can find you at?
Yes, you can always find me over at my channel. It's Darkhour, one word. Make sure you don't put a space in there. If you Google search it, it'll come up as the first one. I have wrestled that shit from everybody else who uses those two words, and I'm proud of that shit.
Right on.
I just released a review for the Captain Falcon movie, Brave New World. And you can catch me every pretty much Sunday, sometimes Saturdays, but on my live show, Two Hoes, the Uninspired Hour or so. Matt Cat has been on it.
Yeah, it's great.
It's a fun time. It's live, so you never know what's going to happen. We could really fuck up.
No, that's a good time. Yeah, and I will leave the links for that in the description down below, you guys. But thank you so much for joining us and listening to us, you guys. Make sure to follow us on Twitter at BSDrunkPod to stay updated and everything. If you do listen to us on Spotify or Apple Podcast or wherever you get your podcast needs, please leave us a 5-star review, you guys. We would really appreciate it, and it does help us out a lot. We'll also be posting the video version of this, like I said, to our YouTube channel, so be sure to subscribe to us there and check us out. It's at YouTube at BS Drunk Movie Reviews. We also do have a Patreon if you guys are interested in that, and we have plenty of different levels to suit whatever needs you're interested in, and the link for that will be in the description down below. And most importantly, you guys, please don't forget to drink, recap, review, and repeat. Bye, you guys.
Bye.